After scrolling on TikTok for too long again, you notice these extremely hard edits that keep popping up on your For You page. You go ahead, do some research, install After Effects and all the necessary plugins. Finally, you open it up and then, what is this? All these confusing buttons and names? How does all of this work? If only there was someone who could teach me. Well, don't worry, because when I started to create edits, I felt the same, if not even worse. So today I'm here to guide you through the whole process of creating a hard TikTok edit that you can upload to gain some followers and likes. And as already said in the intro, we're going to use After Effects and all the necessary plugins. Now, when you first open up After Effects, you're going to be looking at this screen. And what we want to do from here is create a new composition. To do that, just click on the button that says Create New Composition. And there should be a lot of settings right here. Don't get confused, this is pretty simple. These resolution values at the top are just going to dictate which ratio your edit will later be exported in. Now, because I want to upload my edit to TikTok, I want to use a format that works for TikTok. In my case, I like to use 1170 by 1560. You could use the one I use, or you could use 1080 by 1080, 1080 by 1920, 1080 by 1350. It doesn't really matter. Just choose one that works on whatever social media you want to upload your edit to. Next thing is going to be the frame rate that your edit is in, and obviously you want to put the highest value possible in order for your edit to look the smoothest. Though I would not suggest you to go past 60 FPS because it's just going to take a lot longer to render, and most of the phones that your edit is going to be watched on are not going to be able to display more than 60 FPS anyway. Last but not least is the duration of your edit, which basically just means how long your edit is going to be. Don't worry, you can change all these settings later on as well, so for now I'm just going to put it to 30 seconds. Once it's done, just press OK, and now your screen should look something like this. What you're looking at now is just a composition where we later on will put our clips, sound and edit on. Now, because we actually need some footage to edit, I suggest you to find good scene packs. The best scene pack accounts are usually on Instagram, and what they do, they just basically filter out all the scenes of a certain character from a show or movie and then put them as one video. So it's way easier for you to find scenes for your character. And if you struggle to find one, don't worry, I got one as well. The link to that is in the description. For sounds, I suggest you to just search them on YouTube, SoundCloud or TikTok. You can either use pre-edited sounds, leave them how you are, or edit them yourself, which I'm gonna cover in a later video though. And if you don't want to miss that out, make sure to like and subscribe. So now that you downloaded your footage and sound, we're gonna now have to import them into After Effects. And this is pretty straightforward. Just head to the top under File, select Import, Multiple Files, and then select all the files you want to import. Hit Import, press Done, and now you should be able to see them under your Project tab. Now to use the footage, just go ahead and drag it onto the timeline. You're gonna do the same thing for the sound, just drag it onto the timeline, and now you should already be able to see your footage in the screen. But as you can see, the length of my sound and the duration of the composition don't match, so I'm just gonna go ahead, right click, go onto composition settings, and adjust this value till it fits. And now when you edit your footage and sound, the actual editing is gonna start. The first thing that we want to do is mark our beat drops so that we know every time we have to switch our scenes accordingly to the sound. And to do that, go ahead, right click onto your sound, select Keyframe Assistant, and hit Convert Audio into Keyframes. As you can see, there's a new red layer appearing now, and we're going to click on that. Press U on our keyboard to bring up these values. Select the one that says both channels and click on the graph editor. And now as you can see, you have a lot of spikes in your graph, so we're just going to zoom in a bit. And every time you have this high spike, it's going to mean that there's a beat drop. So we're going to go ahead to that time and place and set a marker right here. Do that for every beat drop that you have in your sound. As you can see, I marked all the spikes on my timeline now, and we have this nice numeration so we know where our beat drops. If you now wonder why I didn't make it for this part as well, it's because I want to have my edit loop, meaning that it's going to play twice. But sometimes, depending on the audio that you use, this might not work. An alternative way to do it is to use the waveform in order to find out where the beat drops are. So close the graph editor, delete this layer, click onto your sound and press L twice. And for some audios, it might be easier to find it out this way. In my case, the first one worked, so I'm just gonna close that again. Now once we've done that, you can now finally add your footage to make them fit the beat drops. And to do that, we have to use the scene pack that we imported earlier. So just click onto your project, select the scene pack and drag it onto your timeline. Double click onto it, and to now find the clips, you see that you have an extra timeline that's being created when you double click onto the layer. So just use this to scroll to the scene pack, and every time you find a clip that you might like, you're gonna go ahead and click on this little bracket. And as you can see on our timeline, it's gonna cut to that exact place. So we're now gonna right click on the next marker, press go to marker time, and hit Ctrl, Shift and D at the same time on our keyboard. As you can see, this will isolate the clip. Now we're just gonna double click again on the long scene pack and repeat this process over and over again till we have all the clips. Once you search out all the clips you need for your edit, we're gonna have to make some adjustments to them, because as you can see, they're not fitting the size of the composition and are a bit tilted to the left. The best thing to do is put the face of the character always in the center of the screen, so we're gonna do that now. First of all, we're gonna adjust the size of them, so we're gonna select all of them at once by pressing Ctrl and Shift and clicking onto them. And now we're gonna press S and increase the value till you can't see the black bars at the bottom anymore. If it's the other way around and the clip is way too zoomed in, just decrease this value till it fits. And now to adjust the positioning of the clip and make it centered, we're gonna press onto the clip, press P on our keyboard, and then change the X value, which is the one on the left. In my case, I have to increase it because I want to move the clip to the right. Do that until it fits, and apply this step to every clip that is not centered right off the bat. Now once you adjusted all the clips to your composition size, there's 2 more settings we want to enable before adding the actual effects. Because as you remember earlier, we set our composition frame rate to 60 FPS, but maybe your clips won't be in 60 FPS from the beginning. Maybe they're in 24, 30 or 25 FPS. And to obviously not lose any of the smoothness, we're gonna have to adjust them. And don't worry, there's one simple setting we have to enable for this, which is gonna be frame blending. And to do that, we're just gonna select all the clips you have in your edit, again by holding down shift and clicking the clip. And we're gonna go to this little button you see right here, which says frame blending. And we're gonna click it twice so it looks like this. I would also suggest you to add motion blur on top of that and to mute all your clips except for the intro. Why we mute our clips is pretty simple, because throughout the movie there's probably gonna be background music appearing or maybe random dialogues between characters. And because we don't want that to happen, we're gonna disable the audio completely. And to now finally do something interesting, which I know you have been waiting for, we're gonna add our first effect. The first effect we're gonna add is called Twixtor, which we're gonna use in order to make our clips have slow-mo. And by the way, if you don't have any of the effects that I'm naming in this video, make sure to go on my Discord server, because I have all the links on there, and there's also gonna be people guiding you throughout the process of installing them. The link to that is in the description. But before actually adding the Twixtor effect, we're gonna go ahead and pre-compose the clip we wanna add it to. To pre-compose a clip, basically just press Ctrl Shift and C on your keyboard. This should bring up this window. Then select the bottom option and enable this check mark. Now press OK, or you can just right click onto the clip, select pre-compose and use the same settings. Press OK and do that for all the clips you want to put Twixtor on. Once that's done, your timeline should look something like this. And by pre-composing, we basically just isolate the layer and put it into a whole new composition, which I always would suggest you to do. So to now finally add the Twixtor effect, we're gonna obviously go ahead, open our effects and presets panel and search for Twixtor. There's 2 different versions that you can choose, which is Twixtor and Twixtor Pro, but there's not really a big difference. For this case, I'm just gonna use Twixtor Pro, so we're gonna go ahead and drag it onto the first clip. And make sure that with your time indicator, you go to the very first frame of the first clip as well. This is very important. Now again, if you can't find this effect, go to my Discord, but the first setting that we want to change is the input frame rate. To do that, just disable the little check mark next to in FPS is out FPS. And now you can see you can adjust this value. And to now find out what frame rate your clips have, just go to your project, click onto your scene pack, and it should say right here. As you can see, mine has 23.976 FPS. So we're gonna go back to the effects control panel and change this value to whatever frame rate we have. In my case, 23.976. Next, the image prep, we're gonna put from none to contrast/edge enhance. The frame interpolation, we're gonna put from blend to motion weighted blend. And the warping from interverse to interverse with smart blend. Now the main setting to adjust the slow-mo is gonna be the speed percentage, which you can see right here. 100% is just gonna mean that the clip is be playing at the normal speed. If you put 200%, it would be double the speed. And if you put 50%, it would be half of the speed. Just so you understand. But now to put the slow-mo, we're gonna set a keyframe for the speed at the very first frame of our clip. Do that by pressing this little clock next to it and set the value from 100 up to 200. Now press U while having your layer selected to bring up the keyframes and zoom in a bit. We're next gonna go to the center of our clip, which is approximately here, and put the speed from 200 down to 60. This will automatically create another keyframe. Now go to the end of the clip again and set the value back up to 200. Now after adding this animation, the speed of the values is gonna be linear. And because we don't want a linear graph, but rather one that we can adjust ourselves, we're gonna have to edit the graph of the animation. So just go ahead, select all of the keyframes at once, right click onto them, go to keyframe assistant and hit easy ease. Now open the graph editor and it should look something like this. Now zoom in a bit and copy the frames that I'm doing. Make sure your handles look like this when you're finished. And what it does, it basically means that our animation will be fast at the beginning and fast at the end again. Now you can close the graph editor again. And because we don't want on a slow-mo just on the first clip, but on rather all of them, we're gonna want to copy these keyframes and apply them to every clip so we don't have to do this manually every time. So go ahead, select the keyframes, press onto the effect in the top left. This is very important, so you copy the settings we put earlier as well. Press Ctrl and C. Now go to the beginning of your next clip, select it and press Ctrl and V. Now they should be applied on this clip as well. But as you can see, because I have unregular beat drops, the keyframes don't match my clip. And in order to fix that, we're just gonna select all of them. And while pressing Alt on our keyboard, we're gonna drag the last one ahead till it fits. By doing this, you won't change the aspect ratio between them and keep the same graphs. Make sure to apply this preset to all the clips we have in order to have the slow-mo on all the clips you want to use. Now, after you added the slow-mo to all of the clips, you're gonna have to decide what kind of edit you want to do. Now, obviously, in this tutorial, we want to make a hard edit, so we're gonna use some twitch shakes for the transition. It's also fine if you just want to use zooms or Y shakes, but we're gonna focus on this harder type of look. So if you want to learn how to make good twitch shakes, make sure to cover the step-by-step tutorial I created earlier that's linked in the top right corner right now, because I'm gonna be using the preset I made in that video to make this edit. So just click right here and check it out. Now for the shake that you want to use, it's gonna be the same procedure as for the Twixtor that we just put. Just copy the keyframes and simply adjust them to every clip so that you don't just have to shake on one clip but all of them. Now after adding all the twitch shakes to your clips, you should see that your edit already looks way better. It won't even be comparable to what you had before. Next, if you have a spoken intro, you're gonna want to add text, because it's just gonna improve the overall look of the edit and make the viewers a bit more intrigued into the actual scene. Now creating a new text is also pretty straightforward. Just head to the top, select this text tool and click onto your screen. Now just type whatever your character is saying. Now once you've added the text, you might see that it doesn't fit onto your screen, and there's no problem with that. Just go ahead, select all of it. And if you now open up the character panel on the right, you can see all these settings that you can adjust. For the size of the text, you're going to go ahead and decrease the font size setting. Make it so it fits your liking. But as you can see now, you have a lot of space between the single lines of your edit. So we're going to go to the leading setting and decrease the value till it fits our liking. There's also loads of more settings that you can adjust, but for me, this looks fine. Now, because the blank text just looks boring, doesn't have a lot to it, we're going to add some extra effects to make it stand out. So go ahead under your effects and presets panel and search for deep glow. Drag it onto your clip, put the radius from 500 down to 300 and the exposure from 1 to 0.2. Next, search for drop shadow, drag it onto the layer, put the opacity to 100, distance to 10 and softness to 8. As you can see, the text already looks a lot better, but if you're looking for more advanced text effects, you can also check the video that's linked in the top right corner right now, because I made a full tutorial covering them. But this is going to be a beginner tutorial. Next, we're going to want to add an animation because we don't want our text to just be appearing out of nowhere. So go ahead to effects and presets and search for fade up words. Drag it onto the text layer, and as you can see, your text should be disappearing now. Press U on your keyboard and you should see these two keyframes. You have one at 0% and one at 100%. The one at 0% just declares the start of the animation and 100% declares the end, meaning that at 100% your text will be fully visible. And now you're just going to have to adjust it to the speed and phase that your character is talking in. So just drag ahead the last keyframe till it fits your situation. So because also we want our text to be disappearing again, we're going to press T on our text layer to bring up the opacity fading. Now set a keyframe at 100, and at the time and place where you want your text to be fully invisible again, you're just going to go ahead and put the value down to 0. As you can see, if you now play it, you have the slow fading out animation. If you have more than one character speaking, you obviously have to add another text, and I would maybe try and put some variety into the color and text size. And because we put the text that Joker is speaking in white, we're going to put the one that Darth Vader speaks in red, because it kind of fits his character. So go ahead, create another text layer and put in the line your character is speaking. Now go to the old text layer that you had, copy the effects you had on here by pressing Ctrl and C and paste them to the new one. So we also have this one a bit fancier. Now to adjust the color of the text, we're going to select all of it, head to the right under character and click this little white square. And because obviously Darth Vader has a red lightsaber, we're going to put it to red. Press OK. And as you can see, you now have a red text for Darth Vader. Now very important, you can cut this clip right here shortly before he starts speaking by pressing Ctrl Shift and D on your keyboard and delete the excess part. Also go to the old layer that you had, and where it ends you can cut it as well, just so we keep the workspace a bit cleaner. Now for this one I want to add the same animation, so I'm just going to put it onto the clip again, fade up words, and now also adjust it to his speaking phase. Now go to the end of your intro where your text is supposed to stop and cut it right here as well by pressing Ctrl Shift and D, so you don't have the text covering your whole edit. And just like this, you created your simple little intro. And now next, because I said at the beginning that I want to loop my clip, meaning that I want to put the edit part twice, we're going to do that. And in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and select all the clips of the edit and press Ctrl Shift and C to pre-compose them all into one composition, meaning that you now have all the clips in one composition. Now go ahead, duplicate this composition by pressing Ctrl and D, so you have it twice, and drag it till the end of the first one. Make sure to zoom in and put it at the right one, don't have overlapping frames, so it stays on beat. Now by doing this, we just simply double the duration of our edit, so it's a bit longer, and people can actually watch it twice. Now listen up, because this is going to be the most important step of the whole editing. The next thing we're going to add is a good color correction. And why that is so important is because a good color correction can secure you a lot of quality, meaning it can turn the quality of your edit from looking extremely choppy to extremely high. So to add a color correction, we're going to go ahead and add a new adjustment layer by pressing Ctrl Shift and Y. This is going to create a new adjustment layer, and the adjustment layer is just going to add a certain effect to all the layers that are below it. Make sure to put the text layers above it so they are not affected by the coloring. And as you can see, adding a good color correction can actually boost the quality so much. Just look at the difference. And if you don't wonder where you can get such a color correction, don't worry, because I'm still currently running a huge sale on my shop. You can get up to 70% off of all the presets and colorings that I use to make my edits look the best. So make sure to check the first link in the description, because it's a missed opportunity for everyone who doesn't check it out. It's a huge mistake that's causing new editors so much stress and headache. So make sure to avoid all of that and click the first link in the description. And once you follow all the steps in this tutorial, this is what your final edit should look like.
The hell are you supposed to be?
And if you're satisfied with this edit, it's finally time to export the edit and upload it. And to export the edit, I usually always use the setting that's given within After Effects. So just go into Composition, press Add to Render Queue, go to Output Module, choose the format QuickTime, leave these settings how they are, press OK, then set your output to wherever you want your edit to be saved, and press Render. Know that the rendering in After Effects can take a lot of time, especially if you edit so many effects. So be patient, it's gonna be worth it at the end. And if this tutorial was helpful and you learned something, please like and comment down below what tutorial you want to see next. Also, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe to my channel, because only a minority of you guys watching are actually subscribed. And as I said, if you want to get any of my presets, make sure to check the first link in the description, because there's still a huge sale going on. This is a limited time offer, so make sure to be fast and not miss it out. And if you want to get free overlays, presets, and plugins, make sure to check out my Discord channel. The link to that is also in the description, where a huge community of editors. You can just talk on there, get ratings, or talk to me. I'm sure I'll be seeing you on there. As always, thank you for watching. If you struggle with low quality on TikTok after uploading, watch this tutorial and see you next time.